Genesis 18:19 and Genesis 18, three visitors pass by Abraham's tent, and I guess Abraham sticks his head out, recognizes them to be relatively important people, and says, while you're passing through, so they were going to Sodom, and while they were passing through, he says, why don't you rest under the tree? I think it was the Mamre tree, or it was in Mamre. So he says that I'll bring you bread and water. I'll wash your feet. So basically, he says just hang out here. I'll go get you water and some food. Then he goes inside and goes full on out, having his wife knead flour to make cakes, and running into the herd to take a calf, which I had to look at. It's kind of crazy. I get it's maybe a story, but I mean the reality is it's probably true. But when you look at the time to take, I think it was 3 seas of flour. I looked it up. It's a good amount of flour. It's like 3 liters of flour. It's a tremendous amount of flour to knead all that, and then to have the oven ready, which understandably they could keep an oven hot throughout the day. And Abraham was probably, I guess, somewhat well off in his social standing and his assets and so forth. So he probably had the capability. But yeah, he runs inside, tells his wife Sarai to start kneading 3 seas of flour to make cakes. The bread would have been unleavened, so it's not like they'd have to wait for it to rise. Because obviously, if you're cooking traditional bread like we would typically have today, it's a 3 or 4 hour process probably. But I looked into it, and it would have been unleavened bread. So theoretically, while it might not be going inside to grab like bread and water immediately, they might have been able to pull it off where perhaps I'd say maybe 45 minutes later, maybe even an hour later. So let's say she needs the bread, she makes the dough, they put it into the oven, and then he goes out and he probably has some servants with him, so he could probably pick the goat himself, brought it in, had it prepared, so slaughtered, and I guess theoretically, it sounds like a big process, but for his time, he probably could have got that done and maybe showed up, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes later under the tree and gives it to the three people. We'll call them, I guess, people. I think two were angels and one was the Lord himself. And he gives them the food, and I'm imagining the three of them sitting, and he's just kind of like standing and serving them. Probably very happy to be in their company. And then they asked where Sarah. She's in the tent. And then it's just kind of interesting how it unfolds. I could just picture the three of them sitting down, enjoying this under the tree. He's standing there serving them. Time passes, and then just like in passing conversation, they say, "Where's Sarah, your wife?" She's in the tent, and then the Lord says, "I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, shall have a son." So they really had to be going through. I think they went through this already, where I think Abraham got word from the Lord that they would have a son with Sarai, and they didn't think it was happening, so they took other methods to conceive and bore a son with a servant. So Sarah laughs in the tent. Now she's somewhat separated, but it's very interesting that the Lord heard her laugh. It probably wasn't audible. He probably just felt it or recognized it since he can see everything. And Sarah says she didn't laugh. God says she did. Why did Sarah laugh and say, "Shall I indeed bear a child now that I am old?" And he says, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" So that happens, and then three of the men get up. Two of them really are the ones going to Sodom, and they're gonna destroy Sodom because it's wicked, all wicked people there, And the Lord and Abraham go back and forth on, if there's 50, will you destroy 50 righteous? Will you destroy it? No. If there's 45 righteous, will you destroy it? All the way down to 10. It says, if there are 10 righteous there, will you destroy it? He says, I will not destroy it for 10. So the two angels go into Sodom and they see Lot. Lot's just hanging out by the entrance, it sounds like, kind of oblivious to what either wickedness is occurring or what is going to happen. But Lot sees the two men. Lot seems to be a good man, brings them into the house, and just chaos ensues. And the entire village of Sodom comes to try to just do immoral things, terrible, horrendous things to like two of the angels. God's left and right hand people are coming down to destroy them, and here they are, just like total craziness. So the two angels say to Lot, they're like, get anyone who's important to you, your sons-in-laws, whoever, get them, because we're going to destroy the place. We're going to get out of here. Interestingly enough, so I'm kind of counting in my head, can they even gather up 10 righteous people? That would kind of be what I would be looking for, and they'd save the place. And so I'm thinking, all right, he's got his wife, he's got two daughters, maybe he's got sons-in-laws who are set to marry the daughters. So I'm counting maybe he can round up 10. And it seems to be going well. Like, he can get his two daughters, he can get his wife. All right, the sons-in-laws laugh at him when he tells them that they're going to be destroyed. So it's kind of like, it's just wild how wicked the place is, that he's saying this place is going to get destroyed, and his sons-in-laws who are set to marry his daughter don't even listen to him. They laugh. They think he's jesting. They laugh at him. So I almost think that Lot was trying to stay behind. I mean, understandably, maybe he thinks everyone's going down with him, so he's hesitant to leave. I think he woke up the morning when he was supposed to be packed and ready to go. Then he was just like, well, I guess nobody's leaving. So the two angels, grab him, grab the two daughters and his wife, and they're like, well, this is how it is. We're going. We're getting out of here. So they're on their way out to Sodom to be destroyed. And again, Lot's like, I can't make it this far or something. Can I just hang out in this nearby city, Zor? And they're like, all right, yeah, whatever. You can stay here. The wife looks back. They said, don't look back. Wife looks back, and she turns to salt. It's pretty crazy. So now there's three of them. Those were the four. It sounded like the four most righteous people there. Three didn't even make it out, and then they're in a cave. They're hanging out in a cave, and the two daughters, not long after, sin with their father. So it's like, of the four righteous that made it out, three didn't even really make it that far. Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy chapter. Let's see. So yeah, Abraham intercedes for Sodom. And let's see, that might have been 19:2. God rescues Lot. Yep, that was 19 as well. Sodom's destroyed. Lot and his daughters are saved. And the daughters give birth to Moab. I think there were two sons born. The firstborn son named Moab. And to the New Testament, Matthew 7 is about not judging others, which Matthew 6 really sort of to imply that hypocrisy was looked down upon. Well, it really ramps up in chapter 7 about judging others. Judge not that you not be judged, for with the judgment you pronounce you will be judged, and with the measure you use it will be measured to you. Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the ones who seek find, and to the ones who knock it will be opened. And he goes through, I think there are at least a handful of, he goes to the golden rule, do it to others what you would have done to them, or have them do to you. Then there's two paths. So there's a narrow gate leading to life and a wide gate leading to destruction. And it's very easy to go through the wide gate. And a lot of people do go through the wide gate. That was noted. And then false prophets. Be aware of those who appear like sheep but are wolves inwardly. And then he talks about how they can be recognized by their fruit. True discipleship. Not everyone who calls Jesus Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of God. And then there's the foolish builders, the wise and the foolish builders, depending on if you build your house on a rock or build them on sand.